Hello, guys and girls. Good evening. Can you hear me and see me? Let me know in the chat, please. Okay, type in the chat if you can see me and if you can hear me well. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hey guys, can you hear me or not? Can you let me know? Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Guys, can you hear me now? Hello. Can you hear me or not? It seems like hey guys, let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me. I see that you guys are joining. It's very nice. Can you guys hear me now? I need you to say something. Yes, okay, good.
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Technical difficulties can happen. Okay. Okay, guys, so 48 people, wow, very good. So, as you noticed, sometimes technical difficulties happen. It's not a bug, it's testing a new feature. So I want you to know that it's expected behavior, learn the terminology, and it can happen and it does happen. So when we test something live, it can happen. But in any case, we are back. And we are back to interesting lesson today. Lesson is pretty intense, and I hope that you guys will enjoy it. Now, let me go ahead, share my screen. There you go. You should see my screen now. I'm just gonna move myself here so I don't get distracted. Bug happens, it's fine, you know, it can be. So, moment, potential scam calling. Sorry. Okay, guys, today's lesson 15. Lesson 15 is about market and negotiation. So we are going to talk about the market, what kind of jobs we have, what kind of contract you might have, so you are aware of what's going on and how it all works. Okay, what to expect. Good evening, guys. Good evening. Your necklace is beautiful. Thank you. This is my national necklace. Yeah, this is coat of arms, the Ukrainian one. Thank you, guys. So let's see. You see my screen, right? Or just my necklace? I hope my screen is visible, or my necklace too, right? Okay, good. So let's start. We are at the point where we are moving close to final quizzes and to soon internships. So that's why we are getting to kind of the market topics now, which is interesting because there is a lot of things that you maybe didn't know and now you will know after this class. So first, we will look through some interview questions and answers because a lot of them are the same. Many people will just Google QA questions for the interview, especially the people who are not in QA. So it can be any team members who are not in QA. They don't know how to interview the QA team members, the possible one, the one which are getting hired. So they would usually Google and they will say, okay, this is those are the interview questions for the QA engineer. Now, of course, these interview questions, they're too standard, I would say. So you likely will not hear from QA of family members, but from others like developers, maybe Scrum people like Scrum Master, PMs, they might ask you this. Most of the time, they just expect that you respond something reasonable, something that they would understand too. From QA team members, most likely they will ask more detailed questions, maybe similar to this, but more detailed. So it will be something that they know how to build this conversation because they are in QA. So today we're going to look at these questions. They are pretty basic, but because you can hear about them, you need to know what they are, okay? Now, how many bugs can you open? This is very general question because is it what? Is it per day? Is it per week? Is it per sprint? So really, we are trying to avoid this kind of questions because they are too general. We have to define. So when they ask you how many bugs can you open, you would need to ask, define the period, please. So is that day? Is that sprint? Is that what? Most likely it will be per sprint. And what it means for you is that they want to see if you understand how the sprint works. And the sprint works the way that in the beginning of the sprint, let's say it's 2 weeks, in the beginning of the sprint, you will be working mostly getting the new code in, and you will test it. So it will have a lot of bugs. You will be filing like 20 bugs a day. But once you're moving towards the end of the sprint, of course, we expect that the code is more stable. It's not that buggy anymore. So you do not expect 20 bugs per day. Otherwise, the delivery is not going to happen, right? So what you need to say is that in the beginning of the sprint, when the code is buggy, it's raw, then you can open 20, 30 bugs a day easily. But at the end, by the end of the sprint, you are expecting less and less. And ideally, by the end of the sprint, you will not have any critical or blockers left. And the only bugs that you will be opening are those which got introduced because of some fixed something got fixed, something got broken. But it should not be, of course, a lot. Ideally, no critical, no blockers, and just some major bugs could be. So then the next one, how many test cases can you create? This is again, probably we can say that this is the ask per day because you need to define the time period. It, per day will be totally different than per sprint. So you will have to respond the way that will make sense to them. So you will create as many as needed to cover this particular feature or functionality. So based on your experience, you will create as many as needed, because features can be different. Features can be small, that will need like 10 test cases, or these features can be huge and it will need 50 test cases or more than that. So really need to work over the feature, but at least you need to make sure that you cover the acceptance criteria. And acceptance criteria will be defined in the PRD. So you will at least cover this. But of course, if you have time, you will create more to make sure that you covered all the other cases too, and corner cases and more negative tests. So everything you will have to do. Okay. I'm looking at the chat. Okay, so then next one. How many stories can you cover per sprint? This is also very basic question, because the stories can be simple and the stories can be complex. So I would say, based on this question, I would just let them know that I would cover as many stories as coming to me to get verified. Now, if let's say I get deliverable late and I don't have enough time, then I would have to communicate and get the help from the other team members. But usually we would say that if the stories planned in the sprint and they are making it to the sprint and we are on time, then I should be able to test them all and verify by the end of the sprint. That's how it is, because really, if we say I can cover one story, it can be true because the story can be huge. Or I can cover 5 stories if they are small, but it's not up to me. It's really up to the planning. So if we have 5 small stories planned in the sprint, then it's given that we need to verify them. So I would have to verify them. If I have to stay over weekend, I still have to complete it. But hopefully it's not going to happen. Okay. Yeah, it's user stories. It's user stories that you test, and the user story can have many tickets, and it can be different story to story. We don't really have the standard how big the story can be, so it can be easily verifiable, or it can be more complex because it will have more components to it. So of course, it really depends. It really depends on the story size. But again, because we need to deliver by the end of the sprint, I'm assuming that everything was planned well, and I will be able to verify by the end of the sprint and deliver. Do you have one sprint per day at the beginning of the day? No, it's Scrum. It's Scrum stand-up meeting. So we call it Scrum or stand-up meeting, daily Scrum. So it's, yes, it's every day, every sprint, the stand-up meeting, Scrum meeting. Okay. Next one, how many tests are included in your regression testing suite? It also depends on where we at this point. Because if, let's say, we have a huge work done, and we covered lots of features and the product is working, then of course, this regression test suite will be growing. Each time we deliver something, we verify it, we add the coverage, it will be growing. If it's a new product, which we just starting to build, then of course it will have less regression regression tests because we need to accumulate them. We're building the coverage as we go. So the older the feature is, the bigger the more massive it is, the more bugs it will introduce, means the more regressions we will work on. Okay. What is your biggest bug? What is your favorite bug? So I don't know why they ask it. To me, it never made much sense because favorite bug is kind of weird. But once you go for your internship, you will find some bug which you really kind of feel good about, you know. And if they ask me this question, then I would say that, you know, my favorite bugs, not only one, but in general, my favorite bugs are the bugs which are related to the payment systems. So payment systems is very important. People don't want to lose their money, and the company either doesn't want to. So we need to make sure that we test it well. Now, my favorite bug, I don't really have the favorite one, but the biggest bug that I found the bug that it was not calculating the fees and taxes right. And it didn't make sense to me when I saw it. And so we spoke to the team, and we figured, yeah, that's really a calculation issue. And that was my good bug because I feel good. Otherwise, it will go to the customer, and the customer will find out, and they will not trust us. So in your case, you will just, after your internship, just remember something that you found and that you like to discuss and talk about, and that way you will be able to respond this question if you will be asked. Okay, chat. Supposing it takes 25 user stories to complete login epic for 2 months, around 6 sprints. So sprint 1 can have 5 stories up to sprint 5, and then sprint 6 can be regression testing. Yeah, it can be. It really depends how it's planned. So it's not, the good thing is that for us, it's not our problem how they plan the sprint. So this is up to Scrum Master and people who are working in planning. They will be able to plan the difficulty and the velocity of the team so no one gets hurt in terms of, let's say, we load developers super badly and then they running late and then it comes to us and we totally don't have time to verify, so we are late with deliverable. Now, if they plan it right and they know what the team can handle, then we should be fine. We should be fine, and wherever the size of the story is or epic, it should be, we should be able to handle it. So the example that you gave, Ferdinand, is basically that's how it is, but it really depends on those stories and sizes and how they estimate the complexity, which is not our problem unless you will want to become a Scrum Master and all these people who work in who work together to plan it out, then you will worry about how to estimate it right. As of now, we just get whatever we get and we want to make sure that we finish it on time. Okay. Okay. Next one. What would you do if you realize that you are behind the schedule? Have you ever been behind and why? So first of all of us been behind. This is normal because we work as a team and team is not always able to be a robot, right? Someone got sick, someone didn't understand the feature, someone depends on someone else, and you get behind the schedule. You do, and it's normal. So what would you do if you realize that you're behind the schedule? You need to communicate to your manager so he or she knows too. So let's say at the end of the sprint, let's say 3 days left in the sprint, and by this time you really have to be done with most of the testing and just finishing up some remaining tests. But you understand that most of the tests are not yet completed. And what do? You need to talk to your manager and you need to explain why. It's not because you spent half of the week watching YouTube and now you got all the stuff in your queue and you need to figure it out. No, you need to just be honest. You should say that, hey, we got a lot of bugs in the beginning. The fixes took lots of time. We are keep verifying the fixes, but because we have lots of fixes, we have lots of regressions too. They introduce new bugs. So this sprint we are loaded. We really did not expect that many bugs to happen and not as many regressions to happen. So we are behind. We are behind, and what we can offer is that we can, let's say, work over weekend to deliver, or we can remove some of the deliverables from the schedule, but that's not a good idea because it's already been planned. So I would say that when you realize that you're behind the schedule, you communicate to your manager and you have a good explanation why. And have you ever been behind? Yes, because that's a teamwork and everyone depends on each other and everyone works hard, but things happen and this is normal. Just need to be able to resolve it and find a solution. Okay. They would ask us the question knowing we are new to this field. They might ask because they really Google those questions and answers. All interviews will have both positive and negative questions. How you handle things, it is best to be prepared for the best and worst situation. These questions would be tough for someone new to the field. Do you have a certain amount of time to complete testing, or does it depend on the sprint? You have to complete the testing by the end of the sprint, and your goal is not to have any blockers or criticals by the end of the sprint. Everything should be fixed. Now, regarding your concerns, that's tricky. Well, first of all, there is no guarantee that you will be asked these questions. But secondly, you need to understand that this is not something difficult. This is something that is logically right. So let's say if you are behind the schedule, you understand that even if you work in different field, any field, you would have to communicate to your manager, right? Have you ever been behind, and why? It always happens when there is more people in the team. When you can count on yourself only, then of course you can count your time and you can plan it. But when you work with the team, there is so many dependencies that of course you can be behind. So those questions, they're not really tricky. Those are the questions which are common sense questions. And if they ask you, you just think as just think it's a common sense. So it will be easy for you. It's not difficult. Those are not. Okay. Tell me about a time you made a mistake and your manager told you it was a mistake. How did you handle it? Well, this is also normal. We all make mistakes because we all learn. And it doesn't matter if you're new or you are not. I told you guys the story about how I, as a QA lead, did not test on the platform that our Vietnamese guys worked. And then eventually we got lots of problems. At the time, I was like 6-7 years of experience. So everyone can get into trouble. You remember the story about the Vietnamese team, right? So it can happen. It's not about how new you are. It's about that you are learning stuff and you're learning on your mistakes. Now, let's say you make a mistake and your manager told you it was a mistake. How did you handle it? Well, you just have to find a solution. So let's say, how did I handle the Vietnamese guys' mistake? I mean, my mistake with Vietnamese guys. Maybe some of you don't remember the story. I'll refresh your memory. So we had a team and we had a product. The product was a SaaS platform based on the web. It was a website. And we tested everything and we delivered the product by the delivery date. Everything was fine. And then next day we come to work and we have lots of problems and Jiras and emails and chat is getting bigger and bigger every minute. And we see that they say it's not working. And we're like, cannot be. Like, are you serious? Cannot be. We tested it. We tested it very well. We know for sure. And then we were trying to figure it out. For the whole day, we were trying to figure out what is not working until we were smart enough to look at their screenshots. And at the screenshots, we saw that the UI of the operating system is on its Windows. And we tested on Mac because we didn't have any Windows machines. And we were thinking that everyone is working on Mac now. Why we will test on Windows? We did not think about it. But our Vietnamese client were working on Windows and they were very upset. So they said, like, it's not working. And then what we have to do, of course, okay, my manager told me that it was a mistake, and I agree with him. How did we handle? Well, we had to rush and find at least one Windows computer in our team. We didn't have one, so we found some old one, dusty in the room somewhere. We installed the browser that we needed, and we started testing. And we tested it for a good few hours, stayed late, but we figured all the issues that they had. We sent them for the fixing, and over the weekend, our developers were working hard, and by Monday, they were able to fix most of the stuff, so we all were fine. So basically, when you make a mistake and your manager tells you it was a mistake, it's totally fine to admit it if you know it was. And then you just have to figure out how to handle it, how to, it's not time to blame, it's time to act, and you just need to bring the solution, and that's it. That's how it is. It would be hard to come up with examples from past since we are new. Well, you will be having the internship. So at the internship, you will have a lot of things that you can tell about. This question is not QA related. This applies to any time you got feedback from your boss about something you did wrong. Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you. They want to make sure you're open to constructive criticism. Yep. I'll keep both on hand, Windows and Mac, to get good use of both words for manual QA. Yeah, you can, but also you can just make sure that you find out what the customer is going to be using, and then you let your company know that you need to have either 2 computers with you, or better to buy the emulator program, and it will run every setup that you need to run. That will be easier. They will pay for it and you will use it. Have you ever worked on a feature you disagree with? Well, when you test as a client, because you're the first client, you will have features that you think are not a good feature. It can be complicated. It can be, in your case, you think it doesn't make sense. So what you do, you need to file the ticket, which will be improvement. I don't know if our Jira is set up to show you, but if you click on create and issue type, you select, oh yeah, see improvement. So improvement is a suggestion for you to describe what's going on. So in the summary, you will say that, for example, creating a new account takes 5 pages. It's really difficult for the customer to follow 5 pages, and you need to be able to simplify the process. Then in the description, you give more details and you submit it. So once it goes to the product manager, they will be able to analyze it, and they either agree to that or not. So if you probably will be working with these features, and you just file an improvement and see what they say. For example, in my own case, I had the situation when to create an account, the customer has to do 5 pages of different questions. And that was insane. Whole QA department was complaining. We were saying, guys, like, this is not normal. You know, we are telling you the customer will complain. We filed improvements. We were waiting until someone reacts. No one reacted. Then customers started complaining. And then our product manager rethought, like, yeah, you guys were right. And they, simplified it. So that's how it is. And improvements, you are not filing bugs, because the bug means that you are testing against the requirements and it's not going smoothly. But in your case, you are not, because this is per requirements. It's a feature, but you disagree with it because it's not making much sense. And so if you are filing an improvement, then it's not a bug, it's a suggestion. And this suggestion can be taken into consideration or not. And if not, then not. But at least you need to file it. In other words, are you able to be objective and take emotion out of equation? Yeah, that would be nice. I would file a bug that the feature is useless. If you say that feature is useless, then the product manager who designed that feature, that's their baby, they will get abused. You can say something in a nice word, saying that it's too complicated, too complex for the customer, it's taken too much of an effort, something like that. If you say it's useless, it's going to be a problem, I'm telling you. Yeah, it's more a suggestion. Yeah, it is. It's exactly the suggestion part. What would you do if you don't know what to do and you're stuck? Now I'll tell you the story from real life. We had a guy who was a developer, And each sprint, the guy would be very, very late with his deliverables, if he even delivers. He eventually was fired because we were not able to get nothing from him, literally nothing. And when we asked him, why it taking so long for you to deliver something? He said that, well, he was stuck and he didn't know what to do. And instead of asking, he basically was sitting on it, and he was delaying our deliverable sprint after sprint. And after a few sprints, he was fired just because he had to communicate. He had to ask for help. He had to make sure that the team is moving, and team should not be stuck because of one person who is not understanding what to do next. Now, these situations, they happen all the time. I've seen those people who, instead of asking for assistance, for help, they just sit and trying to figure it out themselves for a long time. But you need to know that the balance is very important. Once you don't know something, you cannot go right away and ask for help. You need to try to figure out yourself, but it has to be reasonable time. You should not be sitting for a few days trying to figure it out because the sprint is going. And you need to come up with something. You have stuff to deliver, right? So if you cannot figure something out for, let's say, more than one day yourself, then you have to ask. And you have to ask for team assistance. I was asking myself pretty often. One of my teammates, she was very good with mathematics, and I am really bad with math. So I had a feature where I had to actually make sure it works well, and it was really, really complex in terms of math. So she was helping me out because otherwise I would not deliver that feature. So she was doing it with me, and this is normal. This is normal because some of us have strength and some of us have weaknesses, and if you have a weakness, you need to ask. That's normal. So teamwork is really important. What one or two teammates are not cooperating, then we are stuck. Yeah, what if, yeah. Ferdinand gives good suggestion. I suggest you guys read it. I bug my current boss all the time and I don't know, so hopefully I will carry that to my new QA job. Yeah, just need to balance, Kyle. So you need to make sure that you try yourself. If it doesn't work, for the team to not to get stuck, you need to ask. Sometimes people are afraid of asking too many questions, or they may feel like they are bothering teammates. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It should be reasonable, should not be too often and should not be too quick. But otherwise, if you are stuck like this guy and we don't get stuff delivered, then we all are in trouble, So don't be afraid to ask, but when you ask, and be reasonable. It's not like you're going to bug them all the time. Of course, they will not like it. But when you try yourself and you realize that, no, it's not, I just have to figure it out with someone else who is more experienced, then just do it. What devices do you test first? Now I will ask you, what devices do you test first? I told you guys about it. So what devices you test first? We spoke about it many times. Not only one, not two, I think more than that. Whatever indicated in the test case. We don't really put this information in the test case. There is something else. We spoke. Functionality most of the time depends on the mobile or web, whichever the company gives us. Whichever the company gives you, guys, remember, I told you about the priority list. Who remembers about priority list? Now, who remembers about the priority list? Now we will find out. PRD. Okay, no one remembers about priority list. Guys, we spoke about it. Okay, it's good that we actually got. What devices do you test first? Are the devices that are in your priority list in priority 1. You will always have the priority list, the test priority list. And in this test priority list, you will have priority 1 devices. Let's say it will be Windows Internet Explorer 10. Priority 2, Mac Chrome, for example. Priority 3, Mac Firefox, something like that. So you will be testing according to the priority list. Is the priority list outlined in the PRD? Might be, might be not. If it's not, then you need to ask for priority list, for device priority list. You have to ask your management. They will have to provide you this list, because otherwise you will not know where to test. So what devices do you test first is based on your priority list of devices and systems. Okay. So if your customer is using most of the time iPhone, then iPhone will be priority 1, Android will be priority 2. And I don't know, Google phone or whatever they use, priority 3. If your customer using Mac more than they use Windows, Mac will be priority 1, Windows will be priority 2. Okay? Guys, priority list. Device and browsers priority list. Priority list, guys, no one remembers. Okay. Next. Now we're starting the exciting process. So job search offer, what is full-time? What is full-time? It's a fixed salary for a year. Your total compensation can include. And what's included in your full-time offer? You will see that sometimes you get full-time, sometimes you get contract, sometimes you get contract to hire. So in full-time, we love full-time because, well, it's full-time. It's not a contract, it's full-time until something happens. You leave the job, you get laid off, or the company closes. So basically it's full-time. You have base salary, you have benefits, insurance, 401k, any other benefits that you can get. Yearly bonus from 5% to 30% depending on performance. If you don't do anything, like nothing, but you are not getting fired, then you will get 5% of your yearly salary as a bonus. If you're doing very well, you can get up to 30% as a bonus. Sign up bonus, depending on the role, starts with 10K plus. This is for automation roles only. So sign up bonus, I saw sign up bonuses, people get it, but not for the manual, mostly for automation QA. And stock, you can get stock. This is very often happens, especially if you join the startups. So startups want to make sure that you push the company up and they will give you stock. This is for full-time. We also have contract. So contract is hourly, usually has a fixed duration. And you get paid hourly rate, and benefits you will get, but not always. Now, what means not always? If you work as a contractor, then most likely you work through some company, you work through recruiting company, and this recruiting company is your employer, which means that they most likely, in most cases, they will give you same benefits. I mean, they will not give you stocks, but they will give you insurance, 401k, whatever it is. So in contracts, we get hourly pay, and usually this hourly pay will be, I mean, it will be market rate. It's just might be a little higher because when you're a contractor, you have to pay your taxes yourself and they're not going to be deducted. So you would have to take care of it yourself. Now, when recruiters call you, they will ask you what is your expectation for the full-time or versus for contract. So contract, remember, it's hourly, and the full-time it's yearly. So you need to know what are the differences. So hourly rate for the contractor might be different than hourly rate for the yearly because of the taxes purpose too. Okay. So for example, when I was at Apple many years ago, it was I think 2011 when I was at Apple, we were working for like $30 per hour that time. And people were not happy with it because they said, like, we have to pay taxes out of that, and we would rather be on full-time, and everyone would rather be on full-time. But the contract is also good because, first of all, it's easy to get. When you on contract, it's easier to get this job because full-time requires much more onboarding, more interviews. But for contract, they can give you contract for 3 months, and if they don't like you, they just don't extend it. So contract is easier to get. Now, there is another thing, which is contract to hire. If you see contract to hire on the job description, it means that the company would like to move the employee over to full-time after contract is over and employee's performance is good. Now, what it means? I had it once in my life. I was contacted by a recruiter, and recruiter told me that we have this job and would you like to get interviewed? And I thought, why not? Of course. So I got interviewed, and it was contract to hire. So they gave me 3 months of contract. And after 3 months, it's either they convert me to full-time or they just kick me out. They said, okay, done, bye, we don't want to see you again. So after 3 months, the last day of my 3 months period, I did not know what's going to happen. The last day, I was called into the office of our financial guy, CFO guy, CFO, San Francisco Airport. I think I need to fly somewhere. So I was called to his office, and he said, oh, Natalia, we love you so much. We would love to offer you full-time, so you stay with us. I was super happy. I was so happy because they offered me a really good salary and a really good package in terms of stocks, and I got good insurance. I was super happy. That's how the contract to hire works. So if you see contract to hire, it's your time. You have to shine, and you have to show them that they need you. It can happen that they might not convert you. Or they might not convert you fast. So if they don't convert you, that's pretty, it's explaining everything. You didn't perform well, they don't need you. They kind of say, okay, we want to get another person. But I had another person who was in the team with me, and she joined at the same time as I did. And when I got my full-time offer, she was still not getting nothing. And she was working as a contractor for a few weeks after that. And she was like really shaking because she was afraid they're not going to convert her. And eventually they also converted her. But it took them some more time to decide. But if they love you, they can even offer you, like, the day when your contract to hire finishes, they will offer you right away. So that's how it is. How much did they offer you? At that time, that was long ago. At that time, they offered me, I think, $95K. Yeah, it was $95K plus very good insurance for $1K and stocks. Good package they gave me. It was long ago though. Right now, of course, I would not agree on 95, but that time I agreed because I was super happy. I think it was 2013. Yeah, it was 2013. So it was 10 years ago. At Apple, no, it was not Apple. It was its own. It's a company here in Silicon Valley. They closed. Back in 2011, that's really good. Yeah, it was good. How much stock do they offer usually? Oh, it depends. They can offer you well, it really depends. 25,000 stocks, they can offer 20,000 stocks. It depends. But sometimes the company closing, so you don't get anything from your stocks. What city? It was San Francisco. Google is offering 150 for QA, but I don't know how much experience you need. Google, well, right now 150 is normal. Right now it depends where you are, different states, but in California 150 is normal. It's just in Google it will be competition very high. I would not go to interview at Google because I know that it's probably going to be really tough. I really love interviewing with startups because they are more flexible and they give you more money usually. When I was at Apple, I was getting less money than I got offered at the startup. So that's why I never was back to Apple. But startups have tendency to close. So you will get more money, but it can close at any day. Stable company, you will get maybe less money, but it's not going to close on you. But they can, everything happens too. If you move to a different job, do they cash out the stock? How does that work? Actually, I don't know how does that work. I think wherever vested is yours. Wherever you did not work for, it's not. Usually the vesting period is for 4 years. So during these 4 years, it's vesting. And by the time you leave the job and you vest that particular amount, then the company can buy it back, I think. I never sell it back, so I'm not sure. You will pay a lot of taxes. Yeah. At the interview, the manager asks, how much do you are expected to be paid by hour? What should we say? Usually you would say that you prefer market rate, and you know the market rate because it varies by state. And I will show you how to look for it. Google also laid a lot of people, not only Google. They overhired during the pandemic and they laid off lots of people. But the good thing is that startups are there, and big company were hired, but startups, they keep opening and they need people. So startups are there. And I personally love startups, seriously. I always prefer to be at startups. I was in 2 big companies at Apple and Intel, and I was in the few smaller ones. And I love the smaller ones because Apple and Intel are great for the resume, but for the feeling of like a family, startups are kind of my favorite one. If they close, do you get the rest of your salary? Well, you get some of the salary, of course. Let's say if they close in the middle of the month, then you will get your salary till the end of the month. But sometimes they just lay off people. If they lay off people, they give you the package and they can pay you for another couple months, same salary, but you don't work, which is also not bad. I had it once too. When pandemic started, we had 30% of the people laid off, and it was beginning of December. So I got paid the whole December. I did not work. I got paid whole December, January, and February. I loved it, go vacation. Is startup a company? Startup is a company we just opened, the company which is new. If your company works remotely and your company is in another state, do you pay taxes in both states? No, you pay only the one that I think you live at, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, good. So let's keep moving. This we covered. Now, negotiation. This is my favorite topic to discuss. When you're hiring people, you see all kinds of people coming to you, and how they negotiate is really, you remember that as a manager. because some people, they ask for too much. Some people just bug in your brain this or that they want. So negotiation should happen, but it should happen in a nice way. So practicing negotiation skills are very important. You don't want to pull your blanket on your side only. You want to share this blanket. You want to give to the other party what they want and get what you want. That's something that you need to learn. You need to learn how to stand for yourself, but at the same time, do not hurt others. What it includes: be prepared. Research company culture, salaries, and packages at Glassdoor. I'll show you how to do that today. So when you come to the company and you start negotiating something which is out of their range, because you just never looked what they pay, they might think that you didn't do a good job, or you're just too spoiled and you just want something that no one else gets. You want to research the company culture and salaries and what they give. So be prepared to something that they give, and do not ask something that no one else get, but you only yourself got. Okay? Always be ready to negotiate. So what it means for you? Negotiation is an art. Of course, if someone gives you super small package, you don't want to take it, but you are not saying, hey, you know what, like, what is that? Are you serious? It's not like how it works. You have to be really nice in negotiating, because the nicer you are, the better they think of you, and there are more chances that you will get more money. Provide a salary range based off your minimum. So when you give a salary range, you want to have some minimum in mind that you're comfortable with. You don't want to go below your comfort, because you will constantly feeling that you are underpaid, right? So I remember when we were working for like 30, 35, 40 bucks per hour, someone was offering 17 bucks per hour. And that was like, I don't think they found anyone, but I remember that company, they called for the interview. I came for the interview and they said it's 17 bucks per hour job. And I was gone from there right away. I didn't even stay for the interview for the whole time. I just said that thank you very much, but it's way below my minimum, so I cannot really waste your time and my time. And I left. There is a market rate. It's really different in the different states, because some states are much more expensive, so the market rate is higher. But what we can do to keep it high is that we don't agree to something that is going to put the market down. Let's say if me and you and you and you all agree to low pay, everyone will be offering low. Our market rate will go down. If we all keep at the same point and no one is agreeing to something which doesn't make sense, then guess what? No one will try to offer less, because they cannot hire for this money. So provide a salary range based off your minimum comfort level and see what they give to you. Do not accept the offer too quickly. Give yourself time to think and negotiate. Many of us are in a rush to get a job, and we think that, oh, they will pull the offer if I don't agree. But again, take your time to think if it fits your expectation, if it fits your comfort level. Because again, if you will accept something and you're not comfortable, you will be thinking about it, okay? So for you not to think about it, you have to work off something which makes sense for you. And this usually would just be something, your minimum comfort level. Of course, when you negotiate, you can get more money, but the thing is that you have to be comfortable with what you are asking for. How much time do we give them to think? To them, we don't give to think. That's you will be thinking. Once they will give you offer, you will be thinking. For us, there is no such thing as you can agree right away if you know that's a good package. But if you think that you want to negotiate, then you can take a day or two just to think about it and come back with your counter offer. Always negotiate, but act safe. Do not ask for way too much if you don't have other job offers. Yeah, so you don't cut the offers that you have because you might not get other offers and you need to pay bills. So you need to be, you need to negotiate, but you need to be safely negotiating. Don't try to get twice more than everyone else gets, because you will be most likely will not get this money, but they can just think about you like you are, you know, kind of too much of a person. Evaluate the whole package, base, bonus, benefits. Sometimes you might think that, oh, the base pay is not that high, but then when you negotiate the bonuses and the benefits that they give you, you might think, because it's usually will add up pretty well, you know, if you think about the insurance for the whole family and for one case and all this kind of stuff and paid time off, it can make sense. So when you're evaluating the whole package, not only the base pay. Okay, that's important to understand. What is the typical starting salary right now? It depends on the state, guys. States are very, very different. Okay, next question is, make it clear for the company what is the most important for you and combine into one counter offer. So the good rule of negotiating, guys, is that you're not just sending countless emails saying, okay, how about this? How about that? I would like to get this, or maybe that. No. If you want to negotiate, then you take your time, you craft one nice email, including everything that you want to negotiate, and then you send. What your counter offer should not be 5 of them, because it's making their life, the HR life, a hell. They need to have one counter offer, which is nice and something that makes sense. So you put all the bullet points, something that you want to counter on, into one email. Okay. Don't forget to show your interest during negotiation. They need to believe they can get you. It's very important. If they will think that you come here to collect the salary only and you don't give them about the company itself, they will not take you. They will not take you, even if you are really, really good. Now, they will take you if they see the potential. If this manager wants to work with you, this is very important. They have to see that you are interested. They want to see that you're not here to collect your paycheck only, but you want to bring the value. You need to show that you're interested. So how do you do that? First of all, of course, when you're interviewing, you show your interest. You show that you want to work. And then once you are done with the interview, you would have to say that, hey, thank you so much, guys. I really enjoyed our communication and I would love to get this job. I think I would be great for this job and we can work together really nicely. Show that you want this job. And that's most likely you will get it. Okay. So the bad practice is jumping from one job to another, because if you jump really fast, once you get another offer, you keep jumping. That's not very good. That's a small world and everyone knows each other. So try to stick to the company and commit to it. Okay. You guys, I see you're discussing the salaries. Is anyone listening to me, or you're discussing the salaries? So let me tell you how in real life you get more money. I will give you an example how I got more money and how I was given more money. But let's take a break and then remind me if I forget. How about 5 minutes or 10 minutes? What do you want? 5, 5, 10, 10, 5, 10, 10, 10. 1 hour. Объяснение Хертилде. 5. Let's do 5. Okay, let's do 6. 6:34 right now, 6:40. Let's do 6 and we come back. Just remind me what I told you that I need to tell you, okay? Welcome back. Did you guys make your tea yet? I made mine before the class, now it's cold. Are you guys here? Everyone is here? I can't drink this tea this late. Yeah, for us, it's in California, it's only 6:41, so we can. Everyone is here, very nice. Okay, so, oh, you're caffeine sensitive, then yeah. What are some of the job titles we should look up when job hunting? We'll talk about it. Okay, guys, I promised you to tell you the real life story, how you get more money as an employee and how you give more money as a manager. So first I was an employee. I saw there was a job post for the QE lead job, and that said it was paying like 100K at that time, which was less than I wanted, but they asked me for the interview, so I came for the interview and I met the team and I really liked them. I kind of enjoyed them, and we had really nice VP of engineering, and we kind of, we felt really good about each other, even though I did not get prepared for the interview at all. I did not do a good job in researching the company because they didn't have a lot of things online. So, I was kind of, I was just going because I was going. And in fact, I was late 2 hours, which is never due. I was late because they scheduled me and I was thinking it's California time, but it was New York time because they're based in New York, and here they had a small team. So they called me and they said, oh, we are expecting that you come for the interview. And I said, yeah, I'm coming, but it's I still have three hours. And they said, no, it's actually right now. So I had to run. I came there, I was late. They still accommodated me. They were nice enough. And I was thinking that 100K that they posted the job description, I didn't like, so I would likely be negotiating. So we had an interview. It was really nice interview. It was kind of easy to pass. And then I left. I told them it's great to meet you guys. And I left and I went to the parking lot and drove for the groceries. And at the time I was in the store, VP of engineering called me and he said, I would like to offer you a job. And he offered me, instead of 1K, he offered me 125 plus bonuses and really good sign-up package. And I was like, interestingly, why? So when he hired me, I asked him, like, why did you give me more money than it was in the job description? And he was honest. He said, because we liked you and we want to retain you. We want to make sure you don't go somewhere else. That's how it is. So it's not, I'm saying that you have to come late for interviews and not prepared. I'm just saying that if they like you, then they will want to retain you and they will give you more money than they stated. Then when I was working with them, at some point I became hiring manager for the team. And then I had to hire people. And then I learned how it works. So basically, when I figure out I need a person, I need a QA engineer, what I need to do is that, first of all, of course, I do market research. I find out how much we are paying right now on the average in my state for this job and the qualifications that I'm looking for. And then I need to ask my accounting. I have to ask accounting how much I can get. Can I have this particular, let's say I saw that the minimum right now is like 120, how much I can get up to. And they can say, okay, you can get, let's say, up to 130. Let's say. I say, okay, so we post it as 120. We say, okay, the salary is 120. And then there was one lady that she came for interview and she was really good, really good. And we offered her 120, but she rejected it. She said that she wants to get more. And she requested 15K more on the top of it. And I knew that my limit is 130. So I asked the accounting and I said, can we increase? Can we do 135? And they said, yes, we can. So we offered her 135 and she joined us. basically, why we did it. We had other candidates, but because she was good and we wanted to work with her, we like her personality, we hired her. But at the same time, we hired another girl who was also good, but she was very shy and she did not negotiate. So once we offered her the base that we had to offer 120, she decided to get it, and she did not negotiate, even though we could increase if she will ask for more. So they both were working at very similar positions, but one was getting more money than the other one. And that's just because the other one did not negotiate. And we have to start with something that we got approval from the accounting. So if, let's say, she would say, can I have a little bit more? Then of course we would try to raise. But then later on she got raised either way, because we raised hers to make them even. But during the hiring time, she could really ask for more. So that's how it works from the manager perspective. Manager can ask for more if they really want you, if they really want to work with you. Soft skills almost can be taught. It's the hard skill that can always be finding good. I don't know this word, but soft skills can be taught. Soft skills can be taught, and that's actually my specialty. I specialize in soft skills because I know that hard skills you can learn. Soft skills you have to practice, and someone needs to guide you. So it's very important that you look at the soft skills. They are very, very important. And the soft skills is something that you have to feel. You have to know what the other person is feeling about you. And it is important. It is important, and it's something that you really need to look at. Soft skills are intuitive, but with some practice, you can make it really nice. Trust me, we are born with some talents, but the other talents you can learn. And soft skills, especially soft skills in tech, they are predefined. So you know what people are searching for, and you can make yourself suitable. I had people who had zero soft skills, and of course we just cannot work together. And I had to reject them, even though hard skills, they had a good set. But for example, I did not hire this guy. He was applying for QA engineer role, and I was a QA manager. So I had to find a person, and he applied, and he came for the interview. Physically, I mean, the hard skills, he was very good. I mean, he knew everything, but we did not hire him because he started teaching us how to do our job, especially me. And why he did it? Because he was older than I was, and he was thinking that if he's older, he can teach me. And I'm his manager, so I don't need to be taught. And of course, when the manager sees that someone wants to teach him, they will not hire you. So you need to understand that in this industry, your manager can be the age of your kid, and this is normal. It's very broad industry. So if your manager is 21 years old, but he's still manager, you have to report to him and you have to respect him. So this guy we did not hire because I was like 30 something at the time, and he was like 50 something. And he came for the interview to teach me how to do my job. And of course, I understand that even if I hire him for his hard skills, we cannot work together. It will be just bumping heads. And many managers will think the same. So when you come for the interview and your manager is younger than you, you understand he's younger or she's younger. Remember, it's not about the age. It's about this person is a manager. He got up to this point, and you have to respect him as a manager. Okay. And yeah, he had soft skill bug, very much. Yeah, a lot. So that's the real stories that I've been through, and there's so many stories like this, but we are just gonna keep moving because it's we still have stuff to do. Now, I will show you how to research the market. We use the tool, which is the website called Glassdoor. Glassdoor. How many of you know Glassdoor? How many of you actually used it? I do, I have, yeah. I keep getting spam calls, sorry guys. Okay, so some of you used it, some of you heard about it, very well, very good. Now, Glassdoor is the tool that people maintain. So you as a person would add your own information based on your experience with this company. So let's say you want to research salaries, discover salaries. You can click here and look at the job title in your area. Let's say you're an engineer in Sacramento, probably not a good market because it's less, but let's say San Jose. San Jose is Silicon Valley here, and let's look what they get. So on average, what it says is 95K, but you see that it gets up to 116K. This is just the base. So if you add the additional pays, then here is the best pay and additional pay, then you can get into this range. Some people get up to 130K, 139, and some people stay as low as 66K. So here is the average for this in San Jose for this job. To be honest with you, I think this is lower because everyone who I worked with, they were over 100K. So I think this is very much average. Now, you can look at the different location. Let's say you can look, let's say New York. Let's see what they get in New York. 87, 85, senior 117, 105. So yeah, it's kind of, I think it's very, very average, to be honest with you, because I don't really believe that Q engineer in New York will be working for 87K because it's less. That's very expensive state. But I mean, this is average. That's what people submitted. So we can take this average. Now, what you do is that before you go for the job interview, you need to research the company too. So if you go to companies, you let's say you look at the company, something which will be not too wildly used. Let's say auction.com. Auction.com, because my brother was interviewing here, so I recently looked up. So let's say you go for interview with auction.com and you have salaries, you have reviews, you have interviews, you have benefits, photos you don't care. So let's say you want to look at the salaries. Salaries, you click and you see what they pay. So 48 salaries submitted. We need to see in engineering. Let's see what they have in engineering. See. No one submitted. Seems like no one submitted for QA here. Okay, let's look different companies, something which is bigger. Let's say Apple, which is, I mean, that should be big. Apple salaries. Here people submitted, so now we can see engineering. I don't know why it's so slow today. It's usually faster. Let's say QA. And salaries. Quality assurance, quality control. No, we don't need this one. We need software. Software QA, find salaries. Software QA engineer, 184. Software quality assurance, 197. Yeah, it's not many people submitted, but here you can see that it's really not bad for Apple. So once you research the company, you need to know what they pay, because if they pay less, then once you start negotiating, you will know that probably you're not going to get more than particular amount of money. Right. So for example, the company that I used to work at, Marketing Evolution, very good company, but I don't know if someone submitted any salaries. Oh yeah, submitted. Let's see, because I know this company for sure. I've been there. Let's see what they submitted. So ETL test engineer, this is actually QA, that I know who it is. I mean, I know what we did. So it's 124 they were paying. Quality assurance 61. This is not true. I think someone submitted 15 years ago. This is definitely not something they pay. Web QA automation. Yeah, that's the lady that I told you about. That's the lady that requested more money. Web automation quality assurance, that's the other lady that I told you about. Yeah, so see, it's in this range. So we can trust this review. So now you have to really check. I see that you wanted to check some other locations. Can you try Atlanta, Ohio, Knoxville? Knoxville. Knoxville, Tennessee. Okay. Here, QA engineer. Okay. We need salaries. Always put software, because if you put a regular QA engineer, it can be firmware, software, firmware, hardware, food, anything. So you need to always specify this as software. So here it says 104 in Knoxville, Tennessee. Base pay 95 and plus additional pay. So this is the range which they pay in Tennessee. Okay. Ohio. Let's see Ohio. 83, 11, 102. Associate. This is someone junior. So senior, yeah, that doesn't make sense, because senior 101 and associate is 102. So 83. I'm not sure how true it is, because it's much lower than the Tennessee. Maybe that's true, maybe not. But you know what? I had students who actually moved to different states. I had a student, she lived in it's Wisconsin, I think. Yeah, it's Wisconsin, and she was not able to find, there is not many QA jobs, and so she had to move, and she moved to one of the states, I forgot which one, I think it's Oregon, where she got much more pay. So something to consider if you want to. Atlanta, let's see Atlanta. 86, 105. I don't like it, I think it's a little bit less than we want to see. Salaries. Software engineer. Atlanta. So far, Tennessee is beating everyone up, So Alexander, you're in a good place. Atlanta is 92. Up to 112 here. You can look by the companies. So those are the companies which are hiring 116, 134, 114, 112. So how come that the average then 92 if they all are above 1000K? I'm not sure how they calculate them, but see here, they all above, and this is hourly. Yeah, 62. So if 62, it's about 110. Yeah. Yeah, so see the ranges here are really, even Dell is paying 145. Yeah. So I would say that this base is very general, but if you look here, the breakdown, you will get better idea. Okay, but you guys can do it yourself. This is open source tool. This is just glassdoor.com. You can see your state too. On the position, it was over 2,200. 200 will be automation. Glassdoor is not, well, it's not 100% accurate because people submit it and then it counts the general. What about the beginner QA? How much is the salary? We don't say beginner, we say just software QA engineer. So if they need senior, it will be senior. But if they regular software QA engineer, that's where you fall into. Maybe you can actually afford to buy a house. You know, they are buying the house. Yeah, so you need to have stable income for that, of course. But I was at some point I was renting in San Francisco and I was thinking I will never be able to buy a house, but we actually own 2 houses now. So mostly it's going to my husband for doing all that, but everything is possible. You know, I'm telling you, like a person who was renting 1-bedroom apartment in San Francisco. So, which is expensive also, by the way. Should we search for entry level? No, you should not. Because people will take advantage. You search for regular software QA engineer. If you're working remote, do you get paid depending on where you live or where the company is based? I think where you live. You know what, you can search by level of experience, but this is not that accurate. So I would say if, let's say, you select 1 to 3, because you don't want to select 0 to 1, this is an internship. So if you select 1 to 3, it's changing, but really here, people are hiring you not for the level of experience mostly. They hire you if you can answer the questions that they ask you, you know. So it's really, I would not sort by the years. I would sort by the companies. If they look for a software quality assurance engineer, that's what you are. You are not senior, you are not automation. This is what you are. Yes, San Francisco is expensive as hell. It is. But I was able to afford at the time. Is software quality assurance same as software QA engineer? Yes. They can call it different way. They can call it software quality engineer, which I also like this software quality engineer instead of quality assurance. But most of the people will call quality assurance. Whenever I search software QA engineer, a lot of them require automation experience. Okay, so here is the thing. If you are seeing that automation is required in the job title, then it is automation. If it's in a job description, then it's most likely not required. So here how you look. Let's say you want to go Glassdoor and you want to find jobs. In jobs, let's say you want to find software QA engineer jobs. And here by location, let's say you're looking in Florida, for example. I don't know what they pay here. I've never been to Florida, but let's see. Where do we look? Jobs. So in jobs, you see that they put a rate here, 61K to 78K, which I kind of don't like. Software QA engineer. QA tester. So tester is, they also can call it, but this is something that is like really, I mean, tester, I don't see much, so they call it. Not sure why it's not really a software QA engineer. Yeah, it's given me all types of different engineering. So let's see. It's not sorting well. Because see, it gives all kind of different ones. Let's change the location. Not sure why. Let's do New York. Software QA engineer, okay. Yeah, see, so inventory control is not you, so you don't need to look at it. You need to look. So see, senior software test engineer, so you're not senior, and this is senior. So if it says senior or it says automation, then you are not applying. This is not something for you. But if it says in the job description, then you can apply because it's not the essential skill if they didn't put it in the title. Senior software, okay, senior software quality assurance engineer. Okay, this one we like. So this one is 90 to 150K. And this is in New York. And where does it say requirements? Responsibilities, QA process, develop automation scripts. So you see, they did not put it in the title. So develop automation scripts might be good, but again, it might be not, it might be negotiable, that you might learn. Hello. She came again, the cat. So what I was saying is that you look at the title, okay? You're not applying to senior, you're not applying to automation, everything else you apply. We have a bunch of students who graduated manual course and they just were applying everywhere where it says automation in the description and they got the jobs easily. So don't worry about it. Put manual QA. No, don't put manual QA because people not sorting by manual. They don't even think about manual. Yeah, you can experiment with range of titles. Now, this is how it works on Glassdoor. So remember, you need to prepare yourself for the interview. You research the company. If you, oh, I wanted to show you interview questions too. Let's say this company, Kroll. Let's see if we can see their profile. Okay, let's say you are called for the interview and this is a company. So now interviews, you go to interviews and the interviews, you wait until it's, okay. In the interviews, you can look if they actually put your job here. I don't see anyone from QA put any review here. Okay, so not in this company. Let's see. Let's look different way. Let's look QA. Software QA engineer jobs. And we want Amazon. Why don't we look at Amazon? Amazon interviews. Let's see if they put QA here. QA engineer. That's weird. You see different like semiconductor QA engineer, it's not us. So you don't go there. Let's see here. So you know what, instead of guessing, let's go back to the company that I know and I can show you marketing evolution, because I think someone should be submitting the QA interviews there. Let's see here, QA. Find interviews. No, cannot be right. I know for sure it was there. Cordova. Okay. Marketing evolution. Interviews. QA engineer, one person submitted. Let's see. QA engineer interview application. I applied to recruiter. The process took 3 weeks. Interviewed with marketing evolution in Rancho Cordova. I had a screening call with the recruiter who was pleasant, then a call with the hiring manager. I was brought on site to meet with the team. I was impressed with caliber of talent I met with. Interview questions. How do you drive a culture for QA engineering team? That's pretty much it. So didn't submit much. So this person got no offer, he had positive experience, and he had average interview. Usually you would get more information on the interviews. Let's see if we can. Are you guys asking something? Also in California, they have to post salary ranges. Yeah, they have to. They have to post in California right now, you have to. So let's say interviews. I'm trying to find, I think they've a little changed that. So now it's software engineer interviews. Yeah, so here you can see the top interview questions. You don't even have to search by location, but here you can see that what people say they were asked. And this is for a particular company, but you can be asked anywhere too. So you can read and kind of get an idea. Let's say if you had a great idea to implement something new for a California software product, but management wouldn't take your word for it, how would you convince management to go along with your idea? So someone answered, I would try to create a form of a prototype of said idea and present it along with taking ownership and compassion for the new feature. So see, you can kind of look, let's say, at Apple, they were asking something too. So you can just see, because eBay, Apple, how to test a toaster. Remember I told you about, maybe someone else, I was telling you how to test a toaster. They really like to have this kind of question. Test life cycle and assurance. You remember the test life cycle, should be. Why do you want to work at Apple? So you can kind of get an idea what people ask. It's a good tool, and you can actually Oh, someone put bunch of Brown Chan put bunch of this one, the titles. Yeah, so you can look by the title. This is, this is really good tool. So if you learn how to use Glassdoor, you will really find out lots of things. But this serves really good purpose because you can get an idea of what people ask, what people respond is especially good, interesting information. And you kind of can get to the point where you know what the QA interview looks like. Usually, they are not tough. I only had one time the tough QA interview, which was it was like lots of math. I did not pass it because I'm bad with mathematics, and I told you about that. But that's just the only time when I actually was feeling uncomfortable because I was not able to feel comfortable. Otherwise, the interview should make you feel comfortable. You should not be afraid. You should not be thinking that, oh my gosh, like, what do I look like? If you stick to particular rules of the interview, you will be fine, even if you don't pass it. But this is the experience that you want to get. Okay, guys, once you're discussing the stuff, any more questions? There's something that you want to confirm before we wrap up for today, because we still have time, and I want to make sure that you are leaving today with the good understanding of everything which today's topic related. What do you have in mind, possibly something that you're not sure about, that now is the good time to ask questions? Can you explain sprint again? Yeah, I can. So sprint is a milestone. And the sprints we are using when we work in agile framework. So what means agile framework? Everything is fast, teams are smaller, and the deliverables are on the go. We all the time deliver something. Sprint is the milestone which we have to deliver something at the end of the sprint. So now, giving you example, let's say you have 2 weeks sprints. And it means that every time you will have 2 weeks, it's not like one sprint is 2 weeks, one sprint is 1 week, another sprint is 3 weeks. No. If your company decides that it's 2 week sprint, it's 2 week sprint. It will always be 2 weeks. Now, how it works? In the beginning of the sprint, let's say you have 2 weeks. In the beginning of the sprint, the Scrum team, it will be Scrum Master, Project Manager, Product Manager, some managers, development managers, they will get together for the sprint planning meeting, and they will select the tickets that needs to be implemented during the sprint. They will pull some stories, they will pull some tasks, and they will combine it into some package, which is a deliverable for this sprint. Means at the end of the sprint, by the two weeks, these things have to be developed, tested, and be given to the customer. Now, what it looks like for you. On Monday, you come, new sprint starts. You come and you see that your manager goes to the meeting, which is sprint planning. For you, it doesn't mean nothing. You just work on your other stuff. You know that your manager went, you will be sitting, doing your other things. Now, manager comes back in 2 hours and he says, okay, Natalia, look, this feature will be this sprint, we need to prepare for it. And this feature also we need to prepare. Natalia says, okay, let me look it up. So I go to these tickets in Jira and I look, what do we actually test? By the time developers will start coding it, I have time to understand the feature, write some test cases based on it. I will take a couple days, understand the feature. Then I will start getting some code to me. It will be not the full feature, but it will be some pieces of it. And once I get it, I test it. Once I get it, I test it. And filing new bugs, and it's going back to the developer. And in this process, we leave till, let's say, Friday. On Monday, we have some more deliverables coming, and Tuesday, and by Wednesday, we should be done. We should be really fixing the last tickets, last bugs. We should not have anything which is major, which is critical. I mean, major is fine, but critical is, and blockers should not be there. And on Friday, we deploy it to the customers at the second Friday. So starts on Monday, whole week we work. Then the next week, half week, we still testing, and by the end we should be delivering something to the customer. And during this sprint, every day you will go for your Scrum meeting, stand up, where everyone will give their updates. And if someone is stuck, then he needs to say that, and we will try to unblock him. So that's how it works. Does that make sense? I hope it was easy to understand now. So anyone we work will have sprints. Sprints, company has sprint. So in this sprint, everyone will have the same sprint. Developers, Scrum Masters, product manager, we all work in sprints. It's not only for QA, it's for the whole company. It's company deliverable. I really enjoyed your lesson, Natalia. Thank you so much for helping and explaining everything, how we can keep in touch with you. Olga, you can add me on LinkedIn. And if you have any questions, I'm there. I will, oh, my cat, she jumped on the keyboard. On LinkedIn, you can add me and I'm there. You can always text me if you have any other questions which you forgot to ask, and you will be able to ask me there. When does the Scrum start, before or after the sprint? Scrum meeting is every day during the sprint. So sprint is going for 2 weeks. So it means every day you will have, except the weekend, you will have the Scrum meeting. Everyone will go there daily. How will you prepare yourself for the interview knowing lesson 13 Google Doc interview questions and answers? It's 40 pages long. Do you have any tips to memorize? You don't want to memorize. You want to understand. Don't memorize nothing. If you memorize, you will forget. Just read the doc. Look at the interview questions here. Work with the mentor, because you didn't get with the mentor to the mentor yet. Mentor will be preparing you for interview, and they will make it easier for you. So don't memorize nothing, because it will be very difficult for you to memorize everything. I would say just understand what they want from you. That's it. So anyone we work for will have sprints. If we work in Agile, then yes. If we work in Waterfall, then no. But most of the people work in Agile, so yes. So stand-up meetings usually at the beginning of the day. Yeah, it will be in the morning, like 9, 10. When you go, you can go online or you can go in person, and you will say, yesterday I did this. Today I'm continue working on that. And if I'm blocked or not, blocked. So if I'm blocked, then we need to unblock you. Let's say I come to the meeting and I say, yesterday I was testing create my account feature. Today I'm continuing to test this feature, but I'm blocked on create an account with email. And then the Scrum Master will say, okay, why are you blocked? I said, because I didn't get this functionality from the developers yet. So I cannot really test it. And I'm running out of time. So they will say, okay, developers, why you didn't give her functionality? They will say, oh, because we're waiting on Scrum team, on server team. Server team, why you didn't give her the API? Oh, because we were waiting for something. We are wrapping up, we will give today. So tomorrow, when I come for the same meeting, I will say, okay, yesterday I finished testing my account with phone number, and today I'm waiting for to be given the account with email address. And that's how it is. So you're basically just updating and you listening to what other people say, because what they work on, that's what you will be testing, and that's what you will be working on next. Okay. How do we test a toaster? Guys, in one of the, I don't remember, one of the classes, you have this, I forgot what was the class. You can ask your, you can ask customer support or just email to see which class that was at. I forgot which one was that, but there is a learning material about how to test a toaster. Basically, how to test a toaster, you will try to put bread, you will try to put, I don't know, bagel, I don't know, burrito, egg, and see how it behaves. Then you will try to put it outside in the freezing cold temperature and see if it works. You will put it into hot temperature and see if it works. You will try to stick something like the whole big bread and see if it works. Just look at the doc, you will know. I was asked this question too, long ago. Can you talk more about stories? So stories, guys, is like an umbrella. And under this umbrella in Jira, you will have small tasks. So stories is broken down into tasks. Story will look something like, as a user, I want to create an account by using my email address. That's a story name. And under the story, we will have multiple Jira tickets linked to this story, broken down into pieces for the tasks, what we need to build to be able to create an account with email. So until all the tickets in the story get verified and closed, we don't close the story. That's how it is. If you have at least 1 year of experience with a tech company like Netflix, what do you think we should ask for? It really depends on your state. You need to see your state medium, but you should not be saying, okay, I have 1 year of experience. It's really what they think you're worth. If you pass the interview, you don't have to work at Netflix to pass the interview well, right? Or you can be at Netflix, but you will not pass the interview. So it's really look at what the salaries in your state are and go for your comfortable level and just pass the interview. One time you will not pass, another time you will not pass, then the third time you will pass. I told you I was looking for my first job for 2 years. I was not able to find, but because I was not learning it, I was not, I never attended the QA school. If I would attend, then of course I would find it better, but faster. But when I was looking, there was only one QA school available and it was super expensive. I was not able to afford because I just came from Ukraine and, I did not have money. So I was not able to afford and I studied everything myself and it took me 2 years to get a job. And when I see right now how our students, they get in a couple months, I'm thinking, man, I should have invested that time into that school, but I didn't. So yeah, that's how it is. Does it turn on? Does that turn off automatically? Yeah, so Connor come up with the cases for the toaster. What site was that? Would we find card default numbers to test? It's PayPal test number, test card numbers. If you Google PayPal test card numbers, you will find it. Look, just go to Google and say PayPal test credit card. And the first one will be this one. And here are the card numbers. What city of Ukraine are you? Kiev. So if in interview ask for how many years of QA engineer experience I have, what should I answer? That will be better if, so your mentor, they will be able to tell you how to respond to this question, because we don't want to say that you are super new, because otherwise you'll be considered like super junior. And with the level of knowledge that you get from the course, you are not junior. So I think that's better to talk to your mentor when they get you prepared for the interview. They will explain what do you say, because I don't want to say something which is not going to be same as because they know how to put it in the right words. Okay, seems like we have no other questions. I'm from Cherkasy, 2 hours from Kiev. I know where Cherkasy is. It's nice to meet you, Alexander. Very nice to meet someone who is the same area as I am from. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Well, we will get our mentors a little later once you're done with the course. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you loved the class. Have a good night all. And I will see you guys later. Learned a ton. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. I'm very glad that you did. It's very important for me to know that you learned. Appreciate the class. Thank you, guys. And I appreciate your being here. I studied in Kiev. Oh, me too, Oksana. I do too. I did also study in Kiev. You are the best. Oh, thank you, Alexander. I really appreciate your kind words. Thank you so much. Good night, guys. Have a nice evening. Have your tea, coffee. No, coffee don't have. Can we postpone the internship? I think you can. But I'm not quite sure for sure because I'm not in that department, but you can ask. I think that we can, but it's better to kind of, get all the stuff together because internship is flexible. If you cannot do 8 hours a day, you can do part-time, but at least you get up to speed with everything. Okay? You can ask the guys once it's time. Okay, good night, guys. It was a pleasure to be with you today. It was a great class. I really enjoyed it. And thank you for your questions. Good night. Do some students get hired from internships? I'm not sure. I'm not in that. It's a different department, guys. So I don't know. I'm teaching and the internship is totally separate. Дякую, Natalia. Have a good one. Thank you, Olga. Thank you. I always feel like I learn so much when you teach. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ashley. It really makes me feel very good. Your feedback is very valuable for me. And I learn a lot also because I'm trying to be better when I'm with you guys. Okay. Seems like no more questions then. Have a good night, guys.